I would imagine that if there's life on other planets, they value gold there too. I think it's kind of a universal thing as far as the properties that gold has. Now, what Bitcoin did, right? Gold wasn't the first money. It was the best money, right? Because before we had money, there was barter, right? We invented money. But when there was no money, and if two people wanted to trade with each other, they would barter. So if I was a butcher and you were a baker and, you wanted some meat, you would offer me some of your bread, right? And then I would give you some meat and we could trade. But what if you're a vegetarian, right? What if you don't want meat? How am I going to buy your bread if all I have is meat, right? So it was difficult because you needed a confluence of needs. But man invented money, right? Which was a commodity that everybody would accept as payment. And so if I had money, then I could buy your bread and give you the money. And then you could take that money, right, and buy something else. But the money also had to be something of value, but not bread, which would go stale, or meat that would, go bad. The money had to be a commodity that would hold on to its value. And so that's where, gold came in. So instead of giving you meat that you'd have to eat right away or freeze it or something, I just give you gold. And you knew that was valuable. And somebody else, the candlestick maker, would take gold for his candlesticks. You don't need to give him meat, or you don't need to give him bread. So, and a lot of things were used as money, throughout societies. But what ended up being the best money was gold. And they made coins out of it, and you could easily tell, how much gold was in each coin, and so what kind of weight of gold you were getting in exchange for whatever it was you were selling. And the reason gold became better money than, seashells or, cattle or salt, different things that were used. The Romans used salt as money. That's where the word salary comes from, right? Because it was salt.